Welcome back everybody to this video series on how to make a car in Autodesk Fusion 360. So thank you so much everyone for joining back, and thank you so much for your patience and your tolerance this past year. So I've been away, life has gotten really busy, loads of things are happening, I've moved jobs and cities and so on and so forth. But I really want to make it a habit to come back to this YouTube channel, make a video, and I enjoy it a lot, and I know it brings value to other people's lives as well. So there's absolutely no reason why I shouldn't do it. So I want to make it more of a priority that I should. So thank you so much for your support. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your kind words. It really helps a lot, and it always helps out. Now, if you have any questions regarding what I've been doing, what I'm doing at the moment regarding my job and other projects that I've been working on, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I'm also happy to do a Q&A video, which a few of you have asked as well, which is very nice. I did do a YouTube live last week on the Monday, where I built a Airbus A330 model, and I actually did that as a sort of live problem-solving session where a couple of people had joined and we sort of brainstormed some stuff together, which was nice. I hope to do more of that. Obviously, the Airbus A330 was a pretty simple one because it's based on things that I've already done in the past. And the next aircraft will be a little bit more challenging. So if you have a challenge that you'd like to throw at me, please do so, and I'd be very, very happy to take it on in one of the live sessions. Another thing that I would like to showcase is my Patreon. So I'm actually really, really keen on starting some Patreon projects. And I did try this out last year, but because of some personal circumstances from other people's side, they weren't able to join very frequently. But if this is something you're interested in, and I highly, highly recommend it, for just £2 a month, we can come together as a team and we can work on something cool together. And I'm trying to do one this month in July. So if that's something you're interested in, please let me know in the comments below. Shoot me an email if you like. Send me a message through my website, whatever you like. All right, let's get started on the car series itself. So, unfortunately, the file that was being used to create the tutorial in episode 1, 2, and 3 was corrupted because Fusion upgraded and my subscription was changed, so I lost access to my own file, unfortunately. But what I've been able to do is I've taken another file which I used previously, and I've gotten it back to the point where we stopped in the previous video. So in the previous tutorial, we ended up in this state where we had sort of created the front section of this Mercedes. So it sort of looked like this from the front, although I do have a little bit more complexity going on here. And this was a car I was making for myself, so there are a bit more complexities over here. But moving on from here, it'll be a little bit more simple, so don't worry about it too much. And I believe where we left off was at the point where I asked to make a line all the way from here till there. Now, that was a year ago. I did some more practice, and I remembered why I was asking to do that. So let's start by making another sketch from the front view. And I'm going to switch on 3D Sketch because we're going to make some three-dimensional splines. So like in the previous videos, we're going to click on Fit Point Spline. And remembering that because we're on the side view and we're on 3D Sketch, it's not automatically going to create a 3D sketch. I actually want it to snap onto one of our previous surfaces. And the surface I want to snap on is this one here. So I'm just going to rotate very gently till you see this plus becomes a cross and it sort of highlights the edge blue. So I'm going to click on a point somewhere over here. I'm going to go back to the right view. And I want to end it somewhere over here, just above the headlight. Okay, wonderful. So we now have a straight spline that can now be maneuvered in 3D space using the tangent controls and the maiden 2 points. Of course, we've already been doing this in tutorial 1, 2, and 3 if you've been following them along. Okay, so just moving on, what I want to do is I want to create this line, which is very similarly tracing this line over here. So I'm going to make sure I click on the tangent arrow, the tangent control point, which is the green one. I'm going to press M on my keyboard. I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to push up very gently. So now that line, which was straight, has now become a spline. I'm going to press Enter on my keyboard. And I'm going to now click the other side of the point, click on the tangent control point, which is the green one, press M on my keyboard and move up a little bit. Now again, just remembering as with the previous videos as well, if you click on this point and the main tangent line gets activated, don't move that, because if you move that line, you'll see what happens is the actual point moves up and down, but that's not really what we want. What we actually want is to click on that green dot over there, which is on the tip of each tangent line, press M on the keyboard and maneuver that one instead. Okay, and then you can go ahead and press enter. Cool, so I think this looks good from the side. I also want to make sure it looks good from the top. So obviously from the top view, we're starting from the right point, but at the back, we're not quite at the right point here. So this point, if I press M on my keyboard, which is the center at the tip of the spline, I want to now move it a little bit backwards where it ends there. Cool, I'm going to press enter on my keyboard again, and I'm going to select the tangent control point, press M on my keyboard again, and just move it back a little bit. So now we have this sort of beautiful, this beautiful line, which is following the car's side. I'm going to also actually push this down a little bit so it creates a little bit more curvature, and go ahead and press OK. Okay, so it looks good from the side, and it looks good from the top as well. Okay, moving on. What I now want to do is I want to create a similar sort of spline from here all the way till here. And this is actually different from what I was about to show you a year ago. But what I'm about to show you now hopefully will allow us to create some continuity between different surfaces. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to create a new fit point spline, a shift, and I want to start from this edge over here, or this corner over here, and I want to end it. So if we notice, this line is actually following all the way here. So let's hit that line there, and I can use again the spline here to bring it up a little bit. Okay, and obviously it's created a nice smooth curve here, but we want a little bit of a dent over here. Not to worry, we can go to the other side, press M on our keyboard, and just bring it down a little bit. And because this is sort of undercurved, I can just simply extend this one to look something like this. So now we have a bit of a concave side and then a convex going to the top of the car. Okay, I'm going to go to the top view and make sure that looks good as well. And obviously it doesn't. We actually haven't controlled it in that dimension yet. So I'm going to move this point back. And you can see very naturally that curve has already followed the blueprint of the car. And it's really beautiful how that can happen in different dimensions. So I'm going to go ahead and press OK. And now I want to create another spline from there to somewhere there. So I'm going to click on that one, and then I'm going to click on that one. From the top view, let's align it first. So I'm going to press M on my keyboard, and I'm just going to drag this line a little bit sideways. So it's approximately in the right position. Then I'm going to look at it from the side view, make sure it's approximately in the right position. And then from the side, obviously we don't want this to be a straight line. We actually want this to be a bit curved. So I'm going to press enter. I'm going to click on the line itself. And from this side, you can see that our tangent controls don't have points yet. This is because we actually drew them from the top view, and now we're trying to control the tangent from the front view. Not to worry at all, just right click on the green line and press activate tangent handle. So we're going to do that. Look at that one. Press M on our keyboard to maneuver the line, and simply just add a little bit of curvature to that point there. It seems like from the front, we're actually overextending this line over here. So let's see what we can do about that. So from the side, I think this line still looks good. From the front, it looks like we're overextending, but from the top, it looks okay. So this is where blueprint design can be very, very crucial. For this, I'm just going to follow the side view and the top view as fact, and the front view can be used as a reference. So I'm actually going to keep this overextended bit as it is for now. Okay, so I'm going to hover on. And now what has happened is we have created 1, 2, and 3 lines. Now, if you try to patch this, it might not actually work. And there are 2 reasons for this. One reason is that this is a single line which has not yet been split. So we want to actually split this into 2 different lines so we can use half of the line as a reference for our surface. And another is because this is also a reference line and not an actual line. So the way to fix this is to go to Fit Point Spline, and I'm just going to draw one line from here to here, and that's about it. That should have fixed it. And another is that I want to break this long line into 2 different pieces. So I'm going to click Modify, Break, and there we go. It's already broken it, knowing that there's a break in the line itself. So it's used this line as a point to break into 2 halves. So now you see if I hover over this and I hover over this, they are 2 separate lines. So now I can go ahead and press Finish Sketch. So once we've reached this point, what we can do now is actually patch the surfaces or patch the lines together to create a surface. So I'm going to go to the Surface tab here. I'm going to click on Patch, and then I'm going to select, I'm going to first make sure that Enable Chaining is ticked off. You do not want Enable Chaining to be on. Okay, that being said, let's choose our first line, which is this one, our second line, which is this one, our third line, which would be the surface you created in the previous video. So it would be the edge here, the edge here. And in my case, because I had personally added a little bit more complexity, I had to draw this line, which I will now select. And finally, we have this line over here. And you can see it's created this beautiful curved patch, which we want. Now, this is why it was important for us to break this line over here, as well as create that edge over there. Okay, if this doesn't work, make sure all your lines can become a closed loop. So if you started to point somewhere and you've made a line here or added a new spline point here, make sure after all of that, it comes back to the same point you started with. That way your patch will be successful. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and press OK. So what we've essentially done, if we look at it from the side view, is we've made this section over here. And the reason why I've made all of these surfaces as one is because we can maintain continuity. When we look at cars, we can see certain edges, and then we also see certain lines which flow throughout the car. And previously, I was not very good at this, but this is a new technique I'm trying, so I thought I'd share it with you. Now this can be used, and we can now create further sketches like we did in our helicopter series as well as our aircraft series to actually create lines to split different surfaces. So an example for that would be I'll create a new sketch on the side. In this case, I don't want to risk using the 3D sketch, so I'm going to disable the 3D sketch. And then I'm going to create a spline that will follow this curve over here, all the way down there. So I'm going to start here. Maybe I'll add one point of curvature here and another one over here. Okay, so that already starts looking pretty good. Maybe this can be extended just a little bit. And this definitely needs to be adjusted to add that curvature. Now, if your blueprints are difficult to see, just disable or hide your body, and then you should be able to see it a bit clearer. So that's the line that I wanted to, oops, I'm not sure what happened there. I'm just gonna undo. And there we go. So maybe I can move this line a little bit further. And now that's a smooth sketch that I want. And you can adjust this as you like. I don't want to mess around with it too much, just as long as it's following the curve that I like. So I can switch the bodies back on. And now I'm going to press Finish Sketch. I'm going to go to solid, or even in surface, I believe, we can do split body. I'm going to select this body to split. I'm going to select the splitting tool as this new spline that we created. And I'm going to press OK. And voila. I think what's beautiful about this is that we can use a smooth surface that we've created and split it up into different subsurfaces, still ensuring continuity. Okay, so there's another line over here that needs to happen. So I can switch off the bodies and you can see there's a line over here that needs to be made. So that's the next one I'm going to do. And after that, I'll create the line for this window. And finally, we can create the one for the window itself. So what I'd actually like you guys to do is try that out yourself as well. So while I'm doing this, try it out on the side. So I'm going to create a new sketch. Take a line, and then I'm going to just casually make a line over there. And then at the same time, in the same sketch, because I don't want to create too many sketches, it will get too complex and complicated. So I'll create a new spline as well. So somewhere here, and I'll add another line here and another point here. So I can move this. So now I'm following basically the top part of that black edge that we can see just above the windows. Obviously, you don't have to do this right now, but I'm kind of trying to show the power of what a smooth surface can do. Okay, so from there to there, and then maybe I'll use another spline from here to here to here, and then we can trim away this section here, which we don't need. That looks like a smooth curve to me. And from here, we can also create another spline, or you can, in this case, even do a normal line to split it up. And then I can trim away, oops. Then I can trim away that section. And for some reason, it's not joining. Ah, I see. By accident, I attached this line to the tangent line, which is not what I actually wanted to do. So I'm going to delete that constraint, and I'm going to add it to the line itself. Now when I press T, it should allow me to break this. There we go. Cool, so I can finish the sketch, and now I can do modify, split body, and I want to first split that body with that previous line that we created. So splitting tool is this, press OK. And once more, I want to bring that sketch back because it had another reference we wanted, which was the window reference. So modify, split body, select the body, and then select the edges. There we go. And now if I hide the sketch, which we don't need anymore, and hide the canvas as well, we can see we've essentially created the sort of front window aspect of the Mercedes itself. So if we wanted now, we can actually even create this window section here, which I guess we can do now. So I'm just going to create a new sketch, and now I'm going to trace the actual window. So I can do that by creating another spline. So maybe start from there, there, to there. And actually, if I look closely, it feels like it goes all the way down till that point. So in this case, we don't really need to snap, because when we use the splitting tool tends to extend itself naturally. So not to worry if that doesn't snap exactly. And then I want to create a straight line from here to here, and then from here to here. And let's see if I can just add a fillet, which would be easy. There we go. That's exactly what I wanted to do. Cool, so I can finish this sketch as well. Modify, split body, and then I can use this one over here. Cool. And just to add a little bit of an early inspiration, what we can actually do is add a bit of texture to this. So over here, this one, I can do appearance. So I just right clicked on the window, I added appearance, and maybe I can give this some texture. So glass, color density, maybe we can give it a light color. So now this has become a transparent glass. But this section here, it looked more like a rubber or a metal. But just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to do paint, glossy, black enamel. Okay, and now it doesn't look like much yet, but it adds a little bit of inspiration. Now, if you wanted to make this a little bit more detailed, you can add more complexities like splines and lines and make them look very, very exact. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to keep it simple. So that's it for this tutorial, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please do remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I know it's become a cliche, but trust me, it really helps the creators out. Please also consider subscribing to my Patreon for as little as £2 a month, where you get a range of benefits. You can go to my Patreon to check out all the different benefits you can get. I will be making a dedicated video for the Patreon, hopefully in the near future. And then we can brainstorm some ideas together as to what we'd like to do in those sessions, what kind of projects we'd want to work on. I think it's a really great opportunity to get some like-minded people together and we can learn from each other. On that note, thank you so much. Have a great rest of the week, and I will see you all soon. Take care.